Hi everybody, welcome back to Candace Boxing Channel. Hope everybody's doing well and having a good day. So, I see that Don Charles, the trainer of Daniel Dubois, has given another interview. This time he's spoken to Sky Sports in the UK. And he has reiterated how right it was for him to pull Daniel Dubois out of the fight with Joseph Parker a few weeks back. So he also says that he wakes up every morning knowing that he did the right thing. It's good. We've heard, of course, from Frank Warren, who, well, actually, we didn't really hear from Frank Warren. Frank Warren lost his temper with somebody who asked the most mild of questions about Daniel Dubois. Though he did make some reference around the time of the pullout to Daniel Dubois being given antihistamines, which might have affected some test. We've also heard that story debunked by a professional chemist and former employee of Big Pharma who appeared on Porky's Corner YouTube channel, who completely debunked the antihistamine story. We've also heard from Stan Dubois, and we've heard stories about how, a British Boxing Board of Control doctor refused to allow Daniel Dubois to fight. But we've also heard that it was Turki Al-Sheikh's personal physician. Of course, we don't know the name of the doctor. We've not seen any diagnosis. We've not seen any medical report. What we have seen is Andy Lee, the trainer of Joseph Parker, share the skepticism that many of us have about the, shall we say, convenient nature of this illness. We've heard a variety of inconsistent and conflicting reports. But you know who we've not heard from? We've not heard from Daniel Dubois. Not only have we not heard from him, no one has seen him. Now, if you've seen any of my videos, you'll know that I am not a big fan of Daniel Dubois, but I don't hate the guy. I'm just not a big fan of his. I actually feel a little bit sorry for him, if the truth be told. Like, for example, let's take somebody else I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury is so completely switched on mentally. He's in absolute command of his career. Everything he does is planned, organized, and he's a smart guy, right? He's a very smart guy. He knows what he's doing. Daniel Dubois strikes me as more of a vulnerable individual, to be honest with you. And I have a feeling, just a feeling, that Daniel Dubois is not sort of in command of his own career. That he's very much directed by Stan Dubois, his father, Don Charles, his trainer, Frank Warren, his promoter, and that, honestly, poor old Daniel is a little bit of a pawn, in my opinion. But so when I say I'm not a fan of his, it's really that I'm not a fan of how he is being controlled. And I make that distinction between him and, say, Tyson Fury. I mean, Tyson Fury, I don't think anybody's telling Tyson Fury what to do. I think Tyson is very much his own man. And I think intellectually Tyson is very switched on. He's a very, very, very successful business person who happens to be also a heavyweight boxer. So we leave Tyson off to the side because, in my view, he's simply a different kettle of fish than Daniel Dubois. And so when I say I'm not a fan of Dubois, I really mean I'm not a fan of how he is being controlled. And I think it's just it's bizarre that he's being hidden away. And I'm saying hidden away as opposed to hiding away. I don't think he's choosing to hide away and not face the public, not face the media, not reach out to his fans. I think he's being hidden away. And you think about how crazy this is. If this was a soccer player, football in the UK, striker for, I don't know, Manchester United, people would be wanting to know, almost like daily reports about how this person is coming along, what's happening, right? If this was a quarterback in the NFL, there would be almost a daily press briefing about how this quarterback was recovering. Likewise, a world-class athlete from any sport you can think of, right? But there's been not only radio silence from the athletes in this case, Mr. Dubois, but there's been a complicit silence on the part of media that have access, who have been saying nothing about Daniel Dubois. Originally, when I first started speaking about this, some YouTube channels were critical, not of me, they don't even know who I am, but they were critical of people who were saying things that I was saying. They were sort of, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you should just, close your eyes, buy the narrative, nothing to see here, move on. Well, I'm pleased to see that at least some smaller independent channels now are speaking out in the same way. I watched a video this morning from Lee of Inside the Distance, another good, small, independent channel, who's beginning to ask the same sort of questions. People are beginning to think, yeah, okay, you know what, I bought it. You guys said he was ill, he pulled out. Fair enough, that's too bad. You got a replacement in, that's good. Replacement wasn't really fit. Okay, well, whatever, but we've got to see a fight. I'm sure Daniel will be better soon. But I think what's happened is two things. One, it was so suspicious generally about how this guy went from being like razor sharp, the open workouts day, to all of a sudden too ill to fight. And then, oh, he's going to fight Alexander Usyk for undisputed. People who had more than one brain cell started to say, so he avoided a potential banana skin. Sure, he might have beaten Parker. Sure. Yeah, for what it's worth, I think he would have. But Parker it wasn't like Daniel Dubois was fighting me. Parker's able to fight back. Parker could have won. I don't know, 60-40, right? So a banana skin was avoided. And then, of course, there's the more nefarious, did he fail a test? Was there an adverse finding? Did they have their own tests? People who are thinking that way would say, yeah, well, like, how does this guy go from being stopped on a jab to eating right hands like I eat cookies? And they start to think about those things. I'm not saying that's the case, but people start to think. And it's made worse because the fighter in question is being hidden. It's not speaking out. You imagine for a moment that I'm a massive Daniel Dubois fan. Right? Just humor me. I'm a massive Daniel Dubois fan. I named my child after him. I make donations to charities in his name. I cover my bedroom walls in pictures of him. I save up money to follow him around. I'm on his social media daily. Whatever fans do, just making this up, right? But I'm absolutely emotionally invested in the career of this athlete who I followed for since his amateur days. I'm now losing my mind. Like, where is he? Fans would be worried. real serious fanatic supporters would be actually worried. Be midnight vigils, candles being held. And all this could, of course, be put to bed. If the guy came out of his, I don't know where he lives, his mansion, and said, you know, look, I'm really, really sorry. I was sick as a dog. I had to pull out. Sorry I've let you all down. Don't worry, I'll be back by any means necessary. No questions, thanks. You've got my, you know, I'm just speaking to my fans, not the media. If he did that, people would buy that. If he took a tame media person, and God knows there's so many of them, took a tame media person, the Gad or somebody, it doesn't matter who, you know, Radio Raheem, you know, sit down and ask him lob him softball questions. How are you feeling, Danielle? Oh, yeah, much better now. I was sick as a dog. Oh, so pleased to see you're better. Are you looking forward to your next fight? Yeah, by any means necessary. It would be easy, right? We're not expecting him to stand up and give a dissertation. So why isn't he speaking? Could even pre-record something and put it on Instagram. But why isn't he speaking? I think I know why he isn't speaking. And it goes back to that vulnerability. It goes back to how he's being controlled and managed and directed. It's because they can't rely upon him to stick to a script. Because I think Daniel is a truthful, honest human being. And I don't think that he is going to simply parrot a script that somebody else has written for him. They are so concerned that if there's any kind of follow-up question, like, how are you feeling? Oh, good, yeah, I never felt better. What was the virus? What was the illness? Oh, yeah, I don't know. You have to ask my dad. That it would cause more problems than it would solve. So they're hiding him away so he doesn't give the game away. That's my view. I'd love to know what your view is. Let me know in the comments section. If you like this video, please like, please share, please subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, have a fabulous day wherever you are.